Hey everyone, it's Lindey. Welcome back to my channel. I am coming at you today from an undisclosed location because I am not at home, but frequently asked Friday episodes, I am determined to get them out to you on time regardless of wherever life takes me. So I just pulled up my ring light, stood against a blank wall, and we're doing this today. If you are brand new to my YouTube channel, I have numerous videos talking all about selling merchandise online, but this video series in particular is solely dedicated to answering all of your questions and filling these videos with as much information as possible. And I feel like there's a massive echo in this room, so hopefully my mic is drowning some of that out. If the mic is not drowning out the echo, I'm really sorry about that. I'm doing my best here. The reason why this video series is so important to me and why I love it so much is because of my partnership with Wholesale Ninjas. Because every single episode, Wholesale Ninjas gives away a 100 count liquidation lot to one of my viewers that asks a question to be featured each episode. If you don't know who Wholesale Ninjas is, they are my favorite supplier of merchandise for my eBay store. I've been sourcing with them for 2 years now, and they are my primary supplier because their quality control is so consistent, and they sell all of the kind of merchandise that I want to source. If you've seen my other videos, you probably know I like to sell a lot of health and beauty, and that kind of merchandise can be really hit or miss with liquidation companies because they either might not have enough supply or you get a bunch of damaged merchandise that's not sellable at all. But with Wholesale Ninjas, everything is always impeccably packaged, there's minimal breakage, everything is always in brand new condition. I can essentially buy wholesale quality product for a liquidation price, and that's why they're my #1 supplier. They are also dedicated to helping resellers like you and me be successful with what we do by offering us the best price points for the best quality merchandise. Because they are a sponsor of my YouTube channel, I do have a coupon code for them. The code is Lindey25 and it gets you $25 off of anything that they have on their website. But if you want a chance to win a free 100 count lot from Wholesale Ninjas, let me tell you what you need to do in order to enter to win. All you have to do is ask me a question. Just go down into the comment section and ask me a question to be featured on the next episode of Frequently Asked Fridays. And today is our 26th episode. That means we've already had 25 winners of free inventory for their eBay store. Make sure to hang on to the end to find out if you are our 26th winner. But for now, let's get started with the selected questions that came in from the last episode. Megan Randall asks, have you tried selling nail polish in sets, or do you prefer selling them in multiple quantities? Which way do you prefer? So basically, anytime I sell lots, I make the lots based on my current quantity and what active comps are telling me to do. For instance, if I only have 3 of one kind of nail polish and the price comps are fairly low per bottle, I might just go ahead and lot all of them up and sell them in one fell swoop. Versus maybe if I have 30 of one shade, I might just list them in singles or doubles and have multiple quantities if the price point is high enough that I bring in enough profit every time one bottle sells. Because when you have a large quantity of items, you want to make sure that you are moving things out fast to make room, because like I always say, I like to turn and burn inventory. I want to get the merchandise in and get it out as fast as possible. And if you have a large quantity of something, you might have to take a long time to sell through if you're only listing them in singles with a large multi-quantity. Whereas if you have a quantity of 20 or more, it might be better for you to list them in lots of 2 or 3 to try to move them out a little bit faster. And bonus, you maximize your profit in a single transaction because it might cost you the same amount of money to ship 2 bottles as it would be to ship 1. So if you could increase the value by selling 2 at one time versus 1, you also increase your profits and you move merchandise out faster. Jane Barlow asks, love your channel. Thank you so much, Jane. When you sell clothing that you get from garage sales, do you wash, dry, clean, iron, etc.? I'm trying to decide if I should get into clothing. I would love to win a lot from Wholesale Ninjas to start my store again. Well, Jane, if you source clothing from garage sales, thrift stores, any place where it's not brand new, I highly, highly recommend washing the merchandise first before listing it and selling it. So I've heard this argument before from people that source clothing from thrift stores, this idea that nobody donates dirty clothes to a thrift. People wash their clothes and then donate it. But the problem is when clothing is sitting in storage for a really long time, it develops this very, very odd smell. And I have a very sensitive nose to those smells. I can smell thrift store or garage stored clothing a mile away. And I feel like it would be a real turnoff if your buyer was to receive a piece of clothing that had that stagnant smell. So I highly recommend washing and drying the clothing before you list it. I would not list it first and then wash it, because if you end up listing it and then something happens during the wash, maybe it shrinks, maybe the color comes out a little bit, you don't want to send it to somebody if it looks different than you originally listed and pictured. Cynthia McInville asks, hi Lindey. Hi Cynthia. So lately shipping costs are killing my profits. I can't seem to wrap my head around the box in a bag method, and I think that it might save me a little bit of money. Do you have a video or any tips on that process? I found your regional box video recently and that helped a lot. Thank you. Yes, I do have a video talking in detail about saving money using pirate ship when you use the box in a bag method. I'll make sure to link that video down in the video description below. Anything I ever talk about in these Frequently Asked Friday videos, if I reference something or a video that I might have done in the past, I always link those down in the video description below so you have easy access to those videos. So the box in the bag method really does sound a lot more complicated than it is. With the box in a bag method, you are essentially putting anything that might be in a box into a poly bag, and the price that you have to pay for shipping that is based off of the measurements of the bag before you put the item in. So let's say you have a really small box and you can fit it into a 9 by 12 inch poly bag. When you go to get the price calculated for the box in the bag method, you would put in the dimensions as 9 inches by 12 inches, and that's what would give you the price for the box in the bag method. But I will link any videos that I have helping out below. Jothanet asks, do you have to have a business license to sell online? Nope. You need a business license in order to have a storefront, but to sell online, you do not need any sort of business license at all. If you're going to be serious about selling and you do a lot of retail arbitrage or you start sourcing wholesale or liquidation, it might be a good idea to register yourself as an LLC. That way you can get an EIN, because if you have a tax ID number, you're able to fill out a reseller certificate to avoid paying sales tax on merchandise that you source for resale. And that tax ID number will also allow you to source merchandise with some wholesale and liquidation companies. Not every liquidation company requires a tax ID number. For instance, Wholesale Ninjas doesn't, but some out there do. So it might be a good idea to go ahead and get a tax ID number for those purposes. But to generally sell merchandise online, anybody can sell anything online. You don't need any sort of business license in order to do that. K. Joe Ranch asks, how do you organize your stock so that you can find it easily? I'm just starting in reselling and I am at a place where I really need to get organized. I want to organize so that my adult children can help me if I'm out of town. So I do have a couple of videos talking about my inventory. I will link it down below. There are two different kinds of way of doing inventory that I see. One is you assign rigorous inventory numbers to particular items, or you just do a very general kind of inventory system. The rigorous inventory number model, I feel like takes a lot of work in the beginning, and I don't list items to store them for long periods of time, so I don't want to take a lot of time to categorize and put inventory numbers on things and all of that. I would rather just keep it general. So what I prefer to do is I just basically have inventory boxes that are set up like department store shelves. For instance, I have a box for all lotions. If I list a lotion, it goes in the lotion box. If I list cold medicine, I will put it in a cold medicine box. If I list men's razors, I'll put it in a men's razor box. And that way, whenever it sells, all I have to do is look at the item and say, okay, what is this item? It's a men's razor. I know exactly what box to go find it in. It also doesn't take a lot of time to put inventory away. I don't have to assign complicated inventory numbers to things. That's just how I personally prefer to keep track of my inventory. And then anything too big to fit in a box, I will just leave open on the shelf, and I will try to have designated areas on shelves for certain kinds of merchandise so that I know where to find it. Hannah Brown asks, hi Lindey. Hi Hannah. You run markdown sales pretty often, it seems. Do you do it on all of your inventory or just older items? So I will run markdown sales on all of my inventory. However, when you run sales, you can separate certain categories and run a bigger percentage off on certain categories if you would like to. For instance, if I had a whole bunch of clothing that I wanted to do a 50% off sale on, I could just simply run a typical 10% off sale and check mark each category box except for clothing. And then I would run a second sale where it was 50% off and I would check my clothing category box so that everything else was just, simply 10% off maybe, and then clothing was 50% off. But usually I put everything on sale in my store. I always have sales running, except for right now. So I'm actually doing a little bit of a test in my eBay store. I stopped all sales just to see what would happen. So make sure you're subscribed to find out how that turns out, because at the beginning of next month, I'm going to report back on what happened when I stopped sales all month long for my eBay store. We'll find out how much of an impact it had. So make sure you're subscribed and wait for that video if you're curious to see what happens whenever I stop sales. Charles Atkins asks, hi Lindey. Hi Charles. What selling platform do you think is growing the most? So in my personal opinion, which I don't know how of a accurate opinion it is because it's just my perception, but I would have to say if there's a platform that's growing the most, I would think it's Mercari. Because it seems like every time I get on Mercari, I see more activity, more people, more things getting listed. I really think a lot of people undervalue Mercari and the kind of buyers that are over there. So I think that platform is going pretty quick. Elizabeth Alcantara, hopefully I said that right. Hey Lindey, hi Elizabeth. Quick question, do you collect sales tax on things that you sell locally on Facebook Marketplace? This was a really good question. So no, I do not. And that is because I don't think that buyers would respond very well to it. There has been a couple of instances where I have had someone pay using my Square app, because you guys might know if you've seen my garage sale videos, I do have a Square card scanner. So someone can pay me using a card when they pick something up. And I have had it set to collect sales tax, and my buyers did not really respond to that very well. They kind of felt like I was almost ripping them off in a sense, like they only pay sales tax in an actual storefront. They don't have to pay sales tax when you're buying from someone just on Facebook Marketplace or at a yard sale. So I got a lot of pushback from that, so I just stopped charging sales tax. Now, that doesn't mean that gets me out of paying sales tax to my state. I absolutely do. I just basically take it out of my own pocket, or I up the price of my local merchandise because I know that I'm gonna have to pay sales tax on it. Tiger Allen Pride asks, how do you recover after getting a bad pallet? Sometimes it's not easy. I have gotten my share of bad pallets where either my capital was tied up for a really long time or there was just a bunch of junk on the pallet. The only way that you can really recover from a bad pallet is to just sell whatever you can for whatever you can off of that bad pallet and just wait until you make money off of other things to get capital back in order to keep buying more merchandise. That's why I always say never ever spend money on merchandise that you can't afford to just light on fire, because anytime you source liquidation, it is always a gamble. I have bought from numerous companies where I have been literally shipped garbage, literally garbage, like empty boxes and trash in the pallets, and I was furious. But you should never use the only money that you have for sourcing to buy liquidation if you can't afford to lose it, because it is always a gamble. So if I do get a bad pallet, it's not like that's the only money that I had for inventory. There's usually other inventory that I have that I can sell to get some capital back. Getting bad pallets and bad inventory is just a part of the business, and you just recover by selling things and getting money back. Summertime 1953 asks, if you open a store on eBay, do you lose the feedback you have built up? No, I think that there is a misconception about opening up an eBay store, that you think that anything that you had done up to that point is just somehow erased, and that's not how it works at all. When you go from having just a standard individual eBay account to upgrading to a store subscription, literally nothing changes. Your user ID is still the same, your feedback score is still the same, and all of your inventory that you have currently listed on eBay is still there. The only thing that an eBay store subscription does is it just suddenly gives you more insertions that you can use for free. It gives you a little bit of a discount on final value fees. It gives you a little bit of a discount on insertion fees over those freebies that you tend to run out of if you're listing a lot of merchandise. And then you just suddenly have the idea to develop a store name or categorize the merchandise that you're listing. Other than that, everything stays the exact same. I've also had a lot of questions about how how to import your listings into your eBay store, there's no importing needed. Everything is automatic. Cassie M asks, I love your videos, been listening to them religiously while I work. Thank you so much, Cassie. I'm trying to replace my job income so that I can quit and finish my degree while my kids are in school. So it's really critical that I know what I am spending so I can track my profits. What's the best free way to track your money for the first 2 to 3 months of eBay selling while I get the hang of it? I actually have a free spreadsheet. I'm surprised that you didn't see it. So I have 2 free spreadsheets. One of them is really, really old, and it's for primarily PayPal, calculating profits and all of that, so it's a little bit outdated, but I did a newer, updated free spreadsheet. I'll make sure to link it down below. But in that, you can write out what the item was, your cost of goods, you could put in the price it's sold for, and it will calculate your profits for individual items in that spreadsheet. And to keep track of your cost of goods, I would just open up a separate spreadsheet and keep it really simple. Just write down the item and how much you paid for it, and then you can locate it. If you really fill that spreadsheet up, you can locate it just by hitting Control F, which brings up the little find bar. And when you do sell it, you can just hit Control F. You can search for the item and remember how much you paid for it to enter it into the spreadsheet that calculates your profits. Cheesehead Flipper asks, how do you deal with the pull to not list, but instead sit on the couch and watch TV or play a game? I get this question so much because here's the thing. When we're entrepreneurs, when we work for ourselves, we don't have a boss kicking us in the butt and telling us to get to work. That's up to us to do. So when you work for yourself, you do need to have some self-discipline, and you need to be able to tell yourself, no, I will watch TV or I will play a video game after I get my work done. I am a firm believer in rewarding yourself. I do that a lot. If there is a day where I really don't feel like doing anything, I reward myself at the end of the day. For instance, if there's a movie that I really, really, really want to see, I tell myself, okay, you get this done, you get this done, you get this done, and at the end of the night, you can get some salt and vinegar chips, a nice crisp cold Diet Coke, and watch that movie you wanted to see. And that is my reward for a good day's work. But none of that works if you don't have the self-discipline to actually get it done. I'm telling you though, reward systems work. There's a reason why we reward children for good behavior. Why stop just because we're adults? Give yourself a gift. Danny Vaughn asks, hi Lindey. Hi Danny. As a new reseller, is it still a good idea to source through Wholesale Ninjas or stick to yard sales and thrifts at first? So just like I mentioned before, never, ever, ever use money for liquidation or wholesale that you cannot afford to just light on fire, because liquidation is definitely a risk. A lot of the times you don't know what you're going to get, and if you do have a manifest, sometimes the items arrive damaged or not in the same condition as brand new, and then you can't make as much money as you thought when you originally looked at the manifest. So it doesn't matter if you're a new seller or an experienced seller. If you don't have the capital to burn, I would just insist on individually hand-picking items so that you know what you're getting. Because even with Wholesale Ninjas having impeccable quality control, there's no guarantee how fast that merchandise is going to turn. So if instead you're going to a thrift or you're doing retail arbitrage and you're hand-picking the items, you can actually look at the sell-through rate and try to determine how fast that item is going to sell. And if it's going to sell quickly, you might be more inclined to buy it. Whereas if you just get merchandise showing up at your house, it might sell in a week, it might sell in 6 months, you don't know. So unless you have the capital that's there to be tied up, I would consider hand-picking items. Audrey Hobbs asks, hi Lindey. Hi Audrey. Love your upbeat attitude and willingness to help others. Thank you so much, I'm so happy to help. My question is, what, if anything, can be done if eBay calculates the shipping incorrectly? This has happened twice because they base the shipping on the size of the box, not the weight. Help, please, and thank you. So if you have an item that is over 12 inches on any side, you must put those measurements in the listing in order for eBay to accurately calculate the shipping for the buyer. Now, I am not certain, but I am fairly certain that the price of the shipping label is calculated based on weight alone, as long as the package is smaller than 12 inches on either side. But if you have a package that is larger than 12 inches on any side, then weight becomes an issue and it adds to the price. So for instance, let's say you had a box that weighed 5 pounds and you just put 5 pounds in the listing description so that eBay could charge the buyer for £5. But then you go to ship the item and it turns out that the box itself is maybe 15 inches by 12 inches by 12 inches, and that increases the price and you have to overpay. So it's not that eBay necessarily undercharged the buyer or charged the incorrect amount. It's you should have had the measurements in the listing itself to calculate the accurate weight. Now, if the item was smaller than 12 inches on every side and it still charged the incorrect weight, you might have to consider calling eBay to see if there's anything that they can do. I've never had that happen to me before, but that's exactly what I would do if that happened to me. Savannah Atkinson asks, "Hi Lindey." Hi Savannah. I recently had 2 Target bulk pallets delivered, and one of the items, a stroller, has multiple stickers that say display only. Is that okay to sell like that? Yes, it is. A lot of the times whenever you get bulk liquidation, there will be stickers on things that say things like salvage, for display, DNI, or do not inventory. You can just simply remove these stickers. I do also get a lot of questions about how to remove stickers. I love Scotty peelers. I'll make sure to link Scotty peelers down below. You know, it's like $5 for 3 of them on Amazon. It's super duper cheap, and I just use a hair dryer. Just take a hair dryer, you heat up the sticker, it gets the adhesive nice and loose, and then you use the Scotty peeler to just peel it off. But yeah, just because you have merchandise that may have a DNI sticker, a salvage sticker, or a display only sticker, it doesn't mean that you can't sell it. Now, I know a lot of people get really turned off by saying a salvage sticker. However, I have seen salvage stickers put on items and there is absolutely no reason for those stickers to be on those items. For instance, I've come across a brand new box of diapers with a salvage sticker on them. Why on earth would a brand new sealed box of diapers be salvage? It looked like they had just come off of a store shelf. And I had asked a retailer or a liquidator at one time why that happens. And I was told that a lot of the times they utilize those salvage stickers to stick on items that they don't want put back on the shelf. It's like a big flashing light to people not to restock it so that they can put it on a truck. But it is absolutely acceptable to sell those kind of items. All right, it's about that time. Are you ready to find out who our 26th winner is? Drum roll, please. The winner, chosen by random comment selection, is Kathleen Smith. Congratulations, Kathleen. I've already replied to your comment. Just get with me and I will make sure that you get your free lot from Wholesale Ninjas. Kathleen asks, "Hi Lindey." Hello Kathleen, and congratulations. Have you ever considered buying Priority Mail Forever prepaid flat rate envelopes? That way, no matter how much postage goes up, you have a forever price on your package. Also, since returns are such a hassle, have you tried a no returns policy? I have used both the no returns policy or returns accepted on mine with a tiny bit of eBay that I've done. No one seems to care if there are returns or not, but I don't sell beauty products. I sell household items like glass items, which if it breaks, the item is insured. Thank you, love your videos. Thank you so much, Kathleen. Okay, so the first part of your question about the prepaid flat rate forever envelopes. I have not ever considered those because number one, when you buy the prepaid flat rate envelopes from the United States Postal Service, you are not getting a commercial rate. You are paying the retail rate, which means when you buy those flat rate envelopes, you're actually paying more than you would if you just bought the envelope off of a platform like eBay or PayPal. And I suspect that it would take a few price increases to make that price difference count. Plus, I go through so many of those envelopes, I don't really want to have to spend a small fortune just to buy a bunch up front. To give you an idea, I go through about 100 of those envelopes a month, so I would have to spend a pretty penny even buying them in bulk to keep from feeling the postage rate increase months from now. As for the return policy, I did used to have a no return policy when selling things like food and beauty years ago. However, I started noticing that eBay could force returns upon me. All the buyer had to do was say that the item was not as described. Plus, I really like having having the ability to qualify for Top Rated Plus, and that means that I have to offer free returns. And my return rate is still fairly low. I think my return rate is somewhere around 1%, maybe a hair above or a hair below that, but my return rate is still very, very low. So I would rather go ahead and offer free returns and have the benefit of getting 10% credited back to my account, because that 10% credit essentially pays for my store subscription. So that's just why I do take returns. Because even if you don't take returns, eBay can still force you to take the return back if the buyer says that the item is not as described. And not only do you have to take the item back, but you have to pay for it. All right, you guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. The next episode of Frequently Asked Fridays will be posted on Friday, September the 10th. So make sure that you are subscribed and ring that notification bell. That way you're notified when that video is posted. Don't forget to go down into the comment section and ask me a question to be featured on the next episode. Make sure to start your question with 5 question marks, because that is going to indicate entry into the next giveaway. Don't forget to check the video description. I will put a lot of useful information in there, as well as anything that I referenced in this video, and my coupon code to get $25 off of anything on the Wholesale Ninjas website. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I will see you with my next video. Bye-bye.